With the release of the new character,
Roccia.
people are currently debating if she's worth pulling for or not. Is she really that easy of a skip? Or will skipping her break your account? Hell if I know! I ain't no goddamn theory crafter, I don't know much about numbers, but let's take a closer look at some of the minor details that may help you decide, or will help you decide if you want to pull for her or not. First, let's talk about Sanhua, Jinxi's oh so beautiful and loyal guard, sporting an ice-cold demeanor, which is basically a perfect representation of her element since she's, you know, Glacio. Pretty cool. Now let's talk about Sanhua's buffs. Her Moonlit Cloud set has a set bonus that increases attack of the next Resonator by 22.5%. Paired with the Impermanence Herald 4 cost, it will boost the incoming Resonator's damage by 12%. That's a lot of percents, man. Her outro has a basic attack damage bonus of 38% for 14 seconds. And by chance, if you have an S6 Sanhua, to top it all off, you'll gain an additional 20% attack bonus for 20 seconds. That's some pretty fucking decent buffs if you ask me. Now, on to my favorite part, pros and cons. Let's start with the pros. She's easy as hell to build. What's the meta Sanhua build right? Naked Sanhua? Like, you literally only need to level her up so she doesn't get one shot, so max level 70, maybe even level 80. And have random pieces on her Moonlit set. I mean, hell, you don't even need to level her Forte. I have mine all at level 1 for fuck's sakes. For example, I'm going to be running HP and Def Echoes on her for the memes and build her tanky as fuck because she's basically just an outro bot for me. She doesn't even do any damage. Look at her Forte. Level 1, hello. Hell, you could probably even have her on another element bonus 3 cost. It doesn't matter. As long as she activates a set bonus, like Moonlit Clouds, who friggin' cares? Sanhua also has extremely fast Concerto generation, probably the fastest out of anyone. I don't really know who else does it faster than her or even better, which pretty much equals less field time because she's an outro bot. Yeah, makes sense. So I wanted to see how fast she can fill her Concerto because I never really pay attention. All I know is I do my thing and then pop, Concerto is full, switch out. She took 4 whole seconds. Literally all I did was E, Alt, and Forte, and that's it. You know, if that ain't fast, then I don't know what is. Another big pro would be she is more than enough for Camellia. Let me explain. Personally, I think this is like the biggest reason as to why you could, not so much as should, skip Roccia, is because Sanhua is more than enough for Camellia. I mean, come here. Let's be real, alright? What can you clear with the Camellia Shorekeeper Sanhua team? Camellia Sanhua Shorekeeper. Well, I mean, better yet, actually a better question would be, what can't you clear with this team? You know, like you do the rotation, you press E and everything just dies. So that's kind of why I'm thinking like, yeah, maybe, you know what, pulling for Roccia is probably not like the greatest idea. I mean, if you still like her, pull for her, right? But she's not really like a make or break on anyone's account. She probably only has like a few percentages. She's probably only a few percentages better than Sanhua at most. But there's nothing right now in the game that you can't clear without a Sanhua, or an S6 Sanhua especially, right? It's just, she's more than enough. You don't really need more than that. But that's that if you don't have pulls and you want to save for Brent or Phoebe or Zanny, for example, something, or a rerun character, stuff like that. Feel free to save up for them. You'll be okay. Trust me. And last but not least, the final pro, the best pro. As they say, save the best for last. Right. This is definitely something everybody can agree on. 100%. All right. And finally, the last pro. Sanhua is hot as fuck. Oh yeah, did I forget to mention she was also hot as fuck? Alright, cons. First one, lack of AoE. Referring back to my previous point of Sanhua being more than enough for Camellia, Camellia herself already does a lot of AoE damage, especially when she starts going into her Blossom mode and starts whipping the shit out of everyone. Beyblade, let it rip! I believe it also has a little bit of a pull to it. I'll have to double check on that. But maybe with the release of Roccia, the aspect of having AoE support will matter later on. I don't know. Who knows? Not me. Kuro does. Now we're finished talking about Sanhua, let's take a look at the new best in slot support for Camellia,
Roccia.
The Rock Johnson.
What the Rock is cooking!
Alright, now let's talk about Roccia's buffs. If you want to play her as a support, I suggest running her with Wounded Clouds. But if you're going to play her as a sub DPS, you might want to run her with the brand new Midnight Veil set. The set bonus grants incoming Resonator 15% Havoc damage bonus for 15 seconds. And similar to Moonlit Clouds, you'll be using the brand new Nightmare Heron 4 cost Echo. When equipped in their main slot, gains 12% Havoc damage and 12% heavy attack damage bonus. I tried to test the damage difference between the Moonlit set and Midnight Veil, each with her signature weapon, Roccia's signature weapon, and Zhang Liao's signature weapon. And honestly, the difference wasn't all that too much, but I actually couldn't even justify it because my Moonlit set pieces are trash compared to, or sorry, my Midnight Veil pieces are trash compared to my Moonlit pieces that I made it basically in a rush. But here you go anyway if you're interested in the numbers. Roccia's outro buffs Havoc damage by 20% and basic attack damage by 25% for 14 seconds. That's about 13% less than Sanhua's. And other buffs that are included but not limited to, Roccia's S2 grants a total of 40% Havoc damage bonus to the entire team, and her Resonance Liberation buffs flat attack by 200. That's definitely a lot less than Sanhua's S6 20% attack bonus. Alright, now it's time for the pros and cons. Pros. She definitely has a lot more personal damage than Sanhua. Taking a look at her Midnight Veil set, her Resonance Chains, her Forte, and even her weapon, I think it's a safe assumption to make. Well, it's not even an assumption because it's already been tested. She does do more damage. She surprisingly has a really strong AoE. Like, as I was using her on my Camellia team, the pulling capability she has with her skill and inherent skill, Super Attractive Magic Box, is crazy! She just sucks them all up like a fat kid at a buffet. She buffs both Havoc and basic attack, although 13% less than Sanhua's. And her Concerto speed is actually fairly decent. I tested her out to see how fast the Concerto generation would be, and it was roughly around 7 seconds. That's only 3 seconds longer than Sanhua's, which actually isn't really too bad if you think about it. Roccia also has a whopping 60% defense ignore if you have her at S6. That is 20% more compared to an S6 Chang-Li. There are also 3 more pros as to why you should pull for Roccia.
Mamma mia, avanti, figurati.
Alright, time for the cons. Roccia can easily be knocked out of the air, increasing her field time while she's doing her jumpy attacks, so you may need or may not need S1. All S1 really does is it prevents her from being staggered while in mid-air, although you don't necessarily need it because you can just dodge mid-air while doing the plunge attacks, and like you can, once you get on the ground, you can just dodge anyway and continue jumping, and you don't lose your Forte stacks, so like, I guess that's an option. This may be like a con to others, but I see it as a pro because I think it's kind of fun trying to weave this in and out of between enemy attacks. While her S1 shortens the rotation because it also gives 100 Forte and 10 Concerto energy, S6 increases her rotation but significantly increases her personal damage as a trade-off because it basically just allows her to jump 9 more friggin' times. For those players that really care about the sweaty details, 7 seconds might actually be too long for Concerto generation, and it's gonna get worse if she's at S6, so she's gonna take up more field time because she has to release more jumps. So you might want to consider skipping Roccia then. And last but not least, her final con is her rotation is really not as simple or as smooth as Sanhua's, since you gotta do all that jumpy stuff without getting hit. And if you do get hit, you screw yourself over because you basically just increase her field time. This is if you're at S0. This con basically goes away if you're S1 since it removes her stagger mechanic and stuff like that. But if you're at S0, you're probably not going to have a fun time. Just to wrap things up, overall, Roccia isn't a super duper bad pull or character to have since, just like every other gacha game, most likely, Maybe somewhere down the road she will have more characters that will work well with her. Either that or I'm just straight up wrong. For personal damage, yes, there is a big difference between Sanhua and Roccia, but as for buffing Camellia, Roccia only really pulls ahead slightly, and Sanhua has a faster Concerno generation. At the end of the day, though, to be honest, it'll just be up to you to decide who do you wish to pull for, if you want to join the Mamma Mia gang or not. But if you skip on her, that's totally fine too. Like, there's really no shame in doing that, because like I said before, Sanhua is more than enough of a teammate for Roccia. But besides that, thank you so much everybody for stopping by and watching. Which character are y'all pulling for next? And please let me know in the comment section who you're going to be pulling for. Anyways, that's it for me. See ya. Peace.